Welcome to Thriving in Multifamily, a visionary podcast brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network. Join in as we explore motivation, inspiration, and engage in thought-provoking conversations. We provide actionable ideas to help you establish a solid foundation to achieve your career goals. I am your host, Lissi Daniels, and I'm excited to bring you inspiring stories that will empower you to reach your full potential. And welcome to Thriving in Multifamily, a visionary podcast. I am your host, Lissi Daniels, and I'm excited for today's episode where we will be talking all great things from NFL to tech leadership, a journey of innovation. We'll dive into personal growth, leadership, and the importance of representation in the workplace. Our guest, Chase Minnifield, a former NFL player turned Forbes 30 under 30 tech entrepreneur, will share his journey, insights, and building a successful company, but also just thriving in life and then also in business. Chase, welcome to Thriving in Multifamily.
Thank you. I'm excited to be on.
Yes. I mean, I'm going to dive in and we're going to kind of get into some deep conversation, but really having the world get to know you also and how you got started, your inspiration, your motivation behind it, but just really sharing some practical steps because I am intrigued. So I know if I'm intrigued, everyone else is going to be intrigued to know about you, right? Not that they don't already know about you. But anyways, can you kind of just start us off and talk about your story a little bit and how you transitioned from your career from NFL into the world of tech?
Yeah, for sure. It's an interesting journey. I went from Monday Night Football to Monday nights cleaning. So I started off doing a turn company. So anybody familiar with student housing? There's a season called turn season where all the students move out, and before they move back in, you have to flip all the rooms. Cleaning the toilets, cleaning the rooms, and it's pretty nasty when you think about it. But I realized the market opportunity, and I was able to find a lot of bodies and a lot of people, and I was able to scale that business to doing what is kind of the norm now, where you have large turn companies, but then it was pretty abnormal to have a company that was trying to work across the country doing multiple turns and multiple markets, and that's what I was doing originally outside of the NFL. So yeah, Monday Night Football to Monday night cleaning. So that's what kind of my transition. And in that space, I didn't see a void of technology, right? Mm-hmm. So the void of technology was that the vendors that were coming to the site to do work at these properties, they didn't have the same experience as the maintenance team and the in-house staff. So the in-house staff and the maintenance team, they had a very well thought technology stack that kept everybody on the same page and everybody in great communication. But when the vendors came in, they got a piece of paper, and that all that planning and all that like insider communication and knowledge of the project that needs to get done wasn't passed on. It was just like, hey, here's what you need to do it. But the lack of transparency caused for most projects to get off track and become behind quickly. So that's where we initially wanted to solve the problem of like real-time transparency for the property management teams to be able to make quicker decisions on if they need to hire somebody else, fire somebody. Or go and walk these rooms or units and things of that nature. So just that real-time data and feedback was kind of how we got the start for EZOS.
Oh, that's a load, but it's much needed. And it's really interesting how you saw the need and you built from that. And I think that's one thing about our industry is we're constantly evolving, and just having the new systems and techs to help our teams be very efficient is so important with that. So being that you've built successful businesses, especially with EZOS, I'm sorry, let me repronounce that. It's EZOS, correct? Is that how you
EZOS, EZOS.
EZOS? I totally just botched that. I am so sorry.
All good, all good.
But no, what keeps you motivated every day within your business? Like, what are your personal passions and goals for this, and how does it continue to keep you driven?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm a person that needs something that's big to chase.
Yeah.
I don't. I've pretty much done that my entire life. Obviously, from 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, wanting to be a professional athlete, not knowing what it takes, but
Mm-hmm.
really just that was my vision and my goal. That's what I wanted to do, and thinking that it can just be at a young age, right?
Yeah.
And then you figure out, the more things that you have to sacrifice, the amount of work that goes into trying to be in a 1%, space. So, I come from, like I said, I come from Lexington, Kentucky, and the 1% of people that make it to the NFL across the country, if you come from Lexington, Kentucky, it's probably like 0.01%,
Oh, wow.
right? So, it's a small percentage here. So that is what wakes me up and drives me and gives me purpose on a day-to-day basis. Is having that goal out there, and EZOS gave me that same type of goal and that same type of process. So obviously, I have personal goals and things of that nature that's attached
Mm-hmm.
to it. Also, at the same time, it gives me a sense for waking up and trying to
Mm-hmm.
get better. It gives me that same sense of um, chasing something. Like I don't want to wake up and feel like it's okay to be the same that I was yesterday.
Ah, I like
And
that.
with this process of creating a tech company and
Mm-hmm.
making sure that we don't die, is you have to get better.
Seeing that motivation drive to keep going, right? And
Yeah.
I definitely can relate to that. I don't think it's easy to start a business or step out and do your own thing, but it is continuously having that passion for what you're doing, and then within that transition, with that to keep you motivated. And I like how you said it's sacrifices. You do got to make some sacrifices within it to be able to be where you want to be at. So instead of chasing the footballs, we're like, no, we're chasing the dreams. I'm trying to get this businesses off the ground. So I
Mhm.
definitely like that as well. So success comes with its challenges, right? So it's not easy, as I was saying, to kind of walk into those footsteps and really overcome any type of challenges. What have been any setbacks that you may have had with your challenges you faced, even as an athlete or entrepreneur, and how did you overcome
Yeah. I think, setbacks are inevitable,
them? Mm-hmm.
right? Um, in football, obviously, most of my setbacks was injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think that also setbacks also make you tougher, make you more unbreakable if you push through those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
It gives you a sense of a mindset that, oh wow, I and something that I thought would kill me didn't, right? Like when you have that thought process that something that you thought would kill you at
Yes.
some point, it didn't kill you. It gives you a little bit more umph and a little bit more like, okay, I can handle or I can take risks at a higher level, because if the consequence is this, I'm okay with going through that and pushing through to get through the other side of it. So I think a lot of the setbacks that I've experienced have, you know, come with not me wanting to experience those, but
Mm-hmm.
needing to experience those, right?
Yeah.
So specifically in business, just like any other business, you got payroll. Oh, we're going to make payroll this week. How do we, can we raise capital? How do we stay alive? How do we
Yeah.
survive? Um, and I think it's a challenge that, it's tough, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
tough because it's not meant for everybody. Everybody wants to have the pressure of, oh, we have a nice shiny company, but in the starting of the company, before it's like, cash flow, hundreds of $1 million of business, um, most tech companies run negative. They run in the negative
Wow.
model, right? So
Yeah.
essentially, they're not running in a positive cash flow where you're making actual cash. So
Mm-hmm.
it's more so about raising capital, staying alive, figuring out how to maintain the staff and the team that you need to grow and build your business, um, which requires a lot of the things that happened to me as an athlete, where I was like, I'm okay with taking a risk of like starting over, this being the end and the balloon pops and being like, okay, I got to build another balloon,
Oh
right?
wow.
So
Yeah.
that understanding, I think, has kind of forged me to become a CEO that
Mm-hmm.
is not risk adverse.
Yeah. I think you hit it on the nail. I think it is about taking risk, right? And knowing that not everything is always going to be what you see out in the world of social media. I think it's like overly done, whereas like there's hard work. You got to put hard work
Yeah,
in and you have to be ready for it. And whenever you're trying to build a really, your business or whatever your journey is with that. And when you said pop the balloon, well, not this week. This ain't going to happen. We're going to start all over next week. Do I have that resilience to keep going? I promise you, I think about that all the time with me, even speaking full time. Like, oh, am I going to still do this? Is this for me? I don't know quite yet.
yeah, yeah.
So I could definitely relate on a smaller sector than what the bigger sector of that is. So
Yeah.
definitely. So who's been your biggest inspiration or just mentor in life, both personal and business?
Yeah. I mean, my parents probably are my biggest people that I looked up to. My dad has more of a similar like path that I've taken based
Mm-hmm.
on like he played in NFL and he started his own business as well. He's had his own business for 30 plus years. And my mom, she's one of the first Black judges in Lexington, Kentucky.
Mm.
Uh, so she has a path of embarking on doing what people deem to be hard or impossible, right?
Yeah.
So it's just those two have kind of been a vision of me to like it's okay to it's okay to take a risk. It's okay to fail. It's okay to try to do the abnormal
Mm-hmm.
or something that you haven't seen. It's okay to
Mm-hmm.
create new lanes.
Oh, yeah.
It's, it's okay to try different things. So
Yeah.
it's giving me the confidence to try, which I think
Mm-hmm.
is important.
I like that. It's like you already had the structure behind it. So in the support with that and then being able to see how your parents flourish, that's motivation in itself and the drive on the journey. And not everyone has that. And I think that's something that people now are craving and want to hear and learn. Like take the risk, know you're going to fail, know there's going to be obstacles because nothing is just going to happen in line. It's not going to be
Yeah,
perfect. And if you think it's going to be perfect, I don't know what world you're from. It ain't from this one, right? So
absolutely.
I like that process of that continues you to grow, but to build as well too. Um, so with that, what's been some of your success when it comes to building your teams, right? To achieve that. I think when you're
Yeah.
building a business, you also have to build that team to be just as successful as you in practices to thrive.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good question. When I first started, I wanted to work with like-minded individuals who were similar to what they experienced in the athlete space,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because I was really looking for a trait that didn't necessarily deal with how smart or what you studied in school. It was more so about like, hey, I know this is going to be tough, and I hope you're signing up for something that's going to be hard, and there may be times where we may have to make abnormal adjustments, right? But I'm just looking for somebody that's not going to quit and not going
Mm-hmm.
to drop the rope. And those are things that I was looking for at the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
As I continue to scale and grow businesses and become in different lanes of business verticals, raise outside individual capital,
Mm-hmm.
we understand that, I've learned that expertise
Mm-hmm.
and not having to teach some things is very important, right? Like there's a time
Mm-hmm.
and place for the grit and the I'm not going to quit personality.
Yeah.
But there's also a time and place for I've been there, done that personality,
Mm-hmm.
and I can help you guys get to where you need to go quicker,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's probably what we value more so now than we did at the beginning is experience in what we're trying to do.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. It kind of touches base when it goes back to how you do your mentoring and your empowerment with transitioning athletes into the business world, which it kind of falls in the line of just really empowering your employees to be the best they can and to be diligent within their work wise as well. Can you kind of tap in a little bit on how you do that? Because I think that to me, that's the servant heart side of things, right? The mentoring side to help, like
Mhm.
coming from this world into a new industry world or in whatever business that they are working towards.
Yeah, I think you can you can always find value in what your experience have been.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that you just have to see it as valuable,
Mm,
right?
mm-hmm.
I think that is the thing I try to get my like counterparts and former athletes to understand, is that just because you didn't do this course load doesn't mean that you don't have a skill set that's more valuable than the person that did,
Yeah.
right? Um, and it's really just how you position it, right, and sell it when it comes to, hey, I'm the person that you need on your team from that perspective, or I'm the person that can take you to this level from that situation. For me personally, like when I used to have an actual job, I thought my value was too high, right? Like I thought my value was too high for like just showing up every day and making the same amount of money.
Ah.
I thought my value was too high for that. So that's why I wanted to go in the entrepreneurship space, and I wanted to, have a no cap on what my work ethic and time that
Mm-hmm.
I would put in would return on my investment.
Mm.
So that's some thoughts about that.
Yeah, no, I like that. I tell you, it's not for the weak, that's for sure. That is for sure when
Yeah.
it comes to entrepreneurship, but you do have to have value on your time, but you also have to have that work ethic as well. Do you think that's where sometimes people lose or get discouraged when it comes to their journey of success or building the challenges that they may face? When it comes to stepping out and doing their own thing into this world, because entrepreneurship is, like you said, it's not for the weak, or I think it's not for the weak.
Yeah, definitely not for the weak, for sure. Um, but it's for the I guess you would say the confident.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like it's for the confident. It's for the people that have a deep belief in whatever they're doing. Like you have to be fully convicted that, you know to come hell or high water, that I'm still going this way. And
Mm-hmm.
some people have that and they know they have it or they don't have it. Like I'm extremely, like my fiance, she could tell you, like when I have a set path, it's going down that path, right? So um, it's good sometimes and it's bad other times, but ultimately I'll see what this path leads to, and I can get an "I told you so" at the end, or I can
Yes.
get a "Okay, let's go this way" type of situation. So I think that's what entrepreneurship is, right? Like it's I believe I can do this,
Mm.
and I'm going to figure out whether it's good or bad at the end of the journey.
Yeah, I like that. I like how it's like stay straight on that path. My grandmother used to always tell me, she's like, Lisa, whatever you do and whatever your heart is wanting you to do, stay focused on the path. Don't lean to the left, don't go to the right, and keep all the
Mm-hmm.
distractions on the side. Because it's true, when you are literally believing in something you want to do and accomplish it, that's what it's all about. And so
Yeah.
your fiance is, she's on point right there. Um, so what is a fun fact? Let's kind of switch this up a little bit. What's a fun fact that everyone may not know about Chase?
Yeah. Well, I got a couple fun facts, but sometimes I don't know which one to bring out. But I was on a cooking. I was on a cooking show. I'm not. My sister's an actor, so she does like commercials, and we can definitely like have different personalities,
Yeah.
100%. But I was on a cooking show one time and realized that this is like, don't fool yourself. That's not your lane, right? I'm very much a black and white kind of guy when it comes to, hey, if you give me the script, like we're not going off the script, right? So and I realized that television and acting and things of that nature was more so improv, and I wasn't an improver. And as soon as things went off script, um it became worse and worse, right? So yes, there's a couple bad footages on the internet of me and my acting appearances.
You're like, this was not the lane that I'm walking in. This was not the passion. I
Yeah,
cannot sit there and improv. It's so funny because I can relate to that. Like I'm so strict to writing my notes down. Like if someone's like,
yeah,
okay, just go for it. I'm like, yeah, no. But that's an interesting fact. I got to look up this cookie show. Anyone out there, let's look up the cookie show because it's probably on the internet somewhere.
yeah, it's out there for sure. But I'm sure they are slowly trying to hide it.
Build like really meaningful relationships now that you're transitioning into this world. Like what do you use for that when it comes to just networking and really
Yeah,
getting your name?
yeah, no, that's a good question. from my side of things, I'm more so focused on my internal relationships
Mm-hmm.
from my team standpoint and making sure I have a good pulse on them as humans, what's pushing them, what's bothering them, those different types of things, instead of more so the outside networking. I think that's where I've tried to be better and to have a better pulse on that. And I think that's important as I continue to build my business, is that it's not all about just sales and growth, when it comes to, hey, we got to get contracts and things of that nature, which we absolutely do.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I don't want to do that with the loss of like understanding the team and the culture around the people that we have together. Because when it comes to a startup or a small entrepreneurship
Mm-hmm.
business, the people that you have around you
Mm-hmm.
are there because they want to work
Yes.
alongside what you are doing, right?
Yeah.
Like this is not so much about the technology or about the cool name that you have as a company. This is more so about their relationship with you and the belief in what y'all can do together.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It kind of goes into the leadership aspect of it, right? How do you define what a good leader is, or the characteristics that bring to your team to build that morale and that culture at the same time, I think is very important. So, so what are some of your things that you think makes that a great leader when it comes to your organization?
Yeah, I think a lot of things make good leaders. I think there's different types of leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've seen them have multitude of spectrums. I think there's leaders that have the you know, I can do it, I'll do it, and you do as I do type
Yes.
situation, and then you have the leaders that are like, hey, here's how you do it, and
Mm-hmm.
expect to do that to the team. Then you have the more so leaders that are like, hey, this is my thought process. What do you think about it?
Mm-hmm.
And try to get you there. And that's where I'm trying to lean into more so now, is not having my team feel like what I say is what they should do. I
Mm-hmm.
need for us to be at our best as a small company and moving fast. I need opinions outside of mine, right?
Yeah.
It needs to be a process of, we are partners, not employee boss relationships, right? And with that becomes, you can't be scared to push back on thoughts and ideas that I may have,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that the leader has to make people feel comfortable with.
Yeah. And and I find that being in a leadership position from before I stepped out on my own in corporate, that's hard. A lot of leaders don't want to have that. They don't want to be open and have that influence to listen. And I think that's the most important characteristic, is listening and having that empathy, but also knowing, hey, I don't have all the right answers. I'm here. I have you on my team to help me, guide me too. So let's work. And I like how you said partner, because I think that's
Yeah.
most important. And it is partnering with your team members, or within any organization, to get the things done, but also to be successful at the end too. So I could tap right on that. So what do you find that is most struggling for any individual when it comes to their career or their path, success, and being able to step out, or knowing what to do? Like, what are some strategies, or how can they implement that?
To like start their own business, is that what
Yeah.
you're getting at? I'm a fan of like, so there's a couple ways here. I mean, I'm kind of like in like a pool with my internal self of which one I feel is the best way to go about it. I think there's a safer way that probably makes most sense to most of America, where don't step out until you're making the same amount of money that you are making from your internal businesses and
Hmm.
processes. I think that's a safer way, which
Hmm.
probably makes the most sense. But if there's a crazy group of people out there, and I may be in that group, I am better when I know I have no other way but forward.
Ah.
Um, and if I don't put myself in that position, I'll prolong the inevitable. So I would rather fail fast or succeed fast. So yeah, it has got me in a lot of trouble. Obviously, I mean, it's not a. I don't wish this
Right.
upon
Hold on. Succeed.
yeah, I don't wish this upon the faint of heart here. But if you put yourself back against the wall, if you put your back against the wall, and there's no other way but to figure it out, sometimes you'll learn that you're stronger than what you think.
Yeah, yeah. I think I agree with you on that one because I think sometimes it's the hardest challenges that push you to where you were like, okay, I could do this. This is where I want to be at. This is where I'm going to maintain to that. And like I said, it's not for everyone. Agreed, right? Some people can, like, no, we need to take it step by step. And I don't want to
Yeah,
be putting my hands to the back of the wall and be like, I'm done and be
yeah.
over with it. So I could probably go both ways. So I could definitely agree with that on that end as well. So, what strategies do you use to foster your collaboration and your communication when it comes to just your personal relationships within the multifamily sector? Like, how
Okay.
do you build that?
Yeah. No. We try to main activity as far as that industry events,
Hmm.
conferences, fostering those relationships by either hosting dinners,
Hmm.
things like that. We're always exhibiting,
Hmm.
usually at these events that we're going to. But just showing up, I think, is important, right?
Hmm.
I think showing up, being in the city, being in the vicinity of the industry,
Hmm.
allows for your face to be seen, allows for them to be like, oh, that's them, that's that team.
Yeah.
Those are the type of things. It's really an out of sight, out of mind industry, and a lot of our company has been built off of like just like direct sales and outreach,
Hmm.
um, cold emailing and cold calling people. So it takes a little bit of that. It takes a little bit of that hate away from those calls and emails. If they can also see you and meet you in person, and you can be like, "Hey, I'm the person that sent you those emails, and that's okay if you want to, tell me to f off or anything like that." But
You're like, just be
I am a
real.
person. Yeah, I am a person. I am a person.
You're like, all right, now we ain't dealing with you. Now, if someone does send me an email like that, I'm gonna be like, whoa, okay.
It gets there. It gets there at that point when you're cold calling and cold emailing. People hate they're very protective over their spaces of their email boxes. So
That is true. Boy, oh God, that is too funny. But, I also wanted to kind of tap back in a little bit with your mentoring side of things, because I think with you empowering athletes, you're empowering your individuals that you work with. But how do you encourage them to embrace their talents to be strong?
I think it's letting them go, right?
Hmm.
Like, and not like firing them, but like letting them
Yeah.
be on their own, and they operate. I know for a fact, like the athletes that I've hired, they don't do best from micromanagement. They do best from like, hey, I'm in the water, I got to figure out a way to swim
Mm.
in that situation. Now that's great if they can swim, but they can also if they can also drown, right?
True that.
It's also drown. But at the end of the day, like if they can swim, it's beneficial for them and it's beneficial for your company because now you don't have to sit here and hold hands and
Hmm.
and tell somebody like, hey, this is what I need. Like the my partners that I have brought in and have stayed with me for 7-10 years from for my former teammates in some places
Hmm.
in fashion. Um, I don't even have to talk to them. I go weeks at a time without talking to them, and we're still in business together, working together. And it's a place where I know that they're handling their business, and there's an uncanny, I guess, like a trust.
Hmm.
There's an uncanny trust,
Yeah.
and they're going to deliver and handle the situations.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the point. You're hiring on individuals or people, or you're partnering with people that you trust to build it, and you shouldn't have to micromanage. And I think I've had leaders in the past where micromanage. I'm like, look, can I have 5 minutes?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm trying to get my work done. I'm here. I got you, right? And
yeah.
it's so funny with the sink and swim, because if you can't swim, then yeah, you're definitely in trouble.
Definitely think.
You'll be
Yes,
like, I
for
need
sure.
that life vest. Help, help. Man, this has been such a great conversation, just diving into just learning about your growth, where you started as from an athlete. And I always am putting those things into play, having those training and coaching and mentoring of individuals and empowering, which is something that I truly am passionate about, because I think what you have, it's something you should give back and help others be very successful as well within their careers. Do you have any lasting thoughts or just advice or encouragement to anyone out there, whether personal or work related?
Yeah, no, I think that a lot of this conversation can be stemmed from a few things, right? It's don't be fair, don't be scared to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Failure is not as bad as it sounds, and that you will be able to bounce back. So if you're not scared to fail and you're willing to take risks, and then if you do fail, you realize that you haven't died, and then you'll once you come back and do whatever you do again, you'll be 10 times better for the situation. But you'll never make those and never feel that if you don't ever get out on the ledge and take those risks. So that would be the summary in a couple of seconds of what this entire conversation was.
Or right, just jump. Well, figuratively, not really. It's been a great conversation. I hope the audience got some really great insight. I know I did, and inspiration within your career journey. Chase, thank you so much for being a part of Thriving in Multifamily, a visionary podcast. This episode was brought to you by Multifamily Media Network. And again, stay visionary, everyone out there. Thank you, Chase.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Thriving in Multifamily, a visionary podcast. I hope our conversations have inspired you to act and achieve your career goals. Remember, the key to success is to continue learning and growing. And as always, stay visionary. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. Visit multifamilymedianetwork.com to learn more about our industry podcasts, thought pieces, and sponsorship opportunities.